Hey guys, Lord here, back in with another action figure review, and today we will finally be wrapping up my looks at the Marvel Legends Executioner wave with the Build-A-Figure Executioner himself. This, of course, is brought to us by the fine folks over at Hasbro, who will remain fine folks despite the fact that my opinions about this figure may actually surprise you because they're not all good, unfortunately. So, with that being said, we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all this guy has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with a pair of relaxed hands, question mark. Okay, first and foremost, as I wag my finger at nothing, why didn't we just get another fist and a grip hand? Because this guy has also a two-handed weapon, being this big arse axe, which is actually really cool and like my favorite part of the figure. I really like the axe. Handle's not too gummy. The blade itself is a little bit, but it's thick enough to where it's probably going to hold its shape. But like, why does a character with a two-handed weapon have one grip hand? Even executioners that aren't from Asgard and hang out with chicks named Enchantress use two hands to use their axe. I just don't get it. But you know what I do know? I'm sure this guy will get a deluxe release with another grip hand in the future, and possibly an alternate head, and we'll all buy it because we want those extra accessories. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if they scrap these hands altogether. I mean, it wouldn't take much for them to go into ZBrush and flip the grip hand and the fist hand over, would it? That said, that's all you get. Granted, he does come with more than Werewolf by Night, but it's not enough. I would have liked another head, too. I only get the one. But it's fine. Gets the job done. He's got his little funny-looking haircut there, which goes into a point on the back of his head. He's got his armor. It's kind of plated skirt here. Almost Skeletor looking skirt. He's got some He-Man looking boots. He's got some gloves. Some slightly armored gloves. And then he's got sleeves here. And he's not bad. He just is lacking, in my opinion. But as far as his articulation goes, his head will go up this far. Can't go down a lot because of his little beard spikes, but it can go down a little bit. He can rotate, can pivot around, that's fine. Shoulders will pop out. Pretty far, actually. They can rotate around. He's got the bicep swivel, but it's like a very hard line cut. And a single jointed elbow. What is that? He should have got double elbows. Nemesis had double elbows, and I think he's bigger. He does have rotation, though. Plus side, this is not a gummy joint. Neither is this. This goes up into this. That's why the bicep is not moving, but the elbow is. Swivel hinge wrists. Thankfully, the one grip hand he does have has the appropriate hinge for holding stuff. It's just he needed two of those. Dagummit. Torso can lean this far forward, this far back. He can rotate around, that's fine. He can tilt that far, that far. No waist twist at all, which is kind of butt kiss, but I don't think Nemesis had one of those either. His hips can kick out, back down, forward. Not hindered by the skirt in any way. He's got a thigh cut. He's got double jointed knee, which is loose, kind of, sort of, on this side. No boot swivel, but he does have a hinge in the foot with a rocker and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So, I gotta be honest, this is a very mid-level Build-A-Figure. He is barely big enough to be a Baff, first and foremost. He's like maybe pushing the Thing and or Colossus size. And I think at the end of the day, they should have either just released him as a deluxe or did what they did with Colossus and Kitty Pryde and just give us a 2-pack with him and the Enchantress. Because this, as a Baff, sucks. This as a character is pretty cool, but just not as a Bath. He's too small. He doesn't pose very well. And I'm not even an articulation snob like that. It's just, it is what it is, man. That said, you can at least get his axe on one shoulder. That's kind of neat. That's kind of neat. You can at least do that. So I will give him credit for that. But, that's just how I feel about him. But, you know, this is kind of an wave. I'm not going to lie. It's got some really good stuff. And it's got some stinkers. Or just stuff I'm indifferent towards. I can't say it's like the Blackheart wave where I enjoyed pretty much every release. Despite their flaws. And the fact that, yeah, Blackheart wasn't the biggest Build-A-Figure ever. But freaking Blackheart. He was awesome. This guy's just kind of there. I don't know. It's just my 2 cents, I guess. So with that being said, I think it is now time that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here's our Build-A-Figure Executioner alongside his best bud, the Enchantress, who we took a look at yesterday, so please check that review out. If you haven't already, would really appreciate it if you did. And while he does have some size to him, I'm not denying that, he is not the biggest Build-A-Figure we have seen, especially in recent years. So moving her out of the way so we can make way for my favorite figure of the wave, the Phantom Rider. And yes, he's my favorite figure despite the fact that he is just white with hardly any paint on him. It's just a character I've wanted for years. We got him, and there's really nothing wrong with him other than, you know, gummy arse Hasbro plastic. That said, what would be the best figure without the worst, or at least the most disappointing, and that would be Werewolf by Night. Like, I thought people were overreacting when they said this guy was bad. No, he's just bad. That said, he can look up, though, so I don't know where everyone's getting that assumption from. Maybe you just don't know how to pose a figure, but, you know, I don't need him looking straight up at the moon all the time. He definitely looks higher than the Toy Biz one, that's for sure. When you have that one, then you can tell me this guy doesn't look up. That said, it's time now we bring in our 2 regulars. We got the Mythic Legion's Brother Manibelith, which, not for nothing, this Executioner figure could probably work in your Mythic Legion's display if you put a lot more paint on it. Furthermore, I think he'd also look good in a Spawn display, so why don't we bring out our infamous 11 Spawn, who... Executioner is barely taller than Spawn. So that should tell you something right there. If he's taller, it ain't by much. That's for sure. So with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and while I am super stoked to be adding good old Executioner to my Asgardian ranks as part of my Marvel Legends collection, I gotta be honest with you and say that as far as being a Build-A-Figure goes, this guy is excruciatingly underwhelming, at least in comparison to the absolute gangbuster Build-A-Figure that was the Nemesis/Genocide/Holocaust figure we got back in the X-Men wave. This guy just feels super mid in comparison. Not only is he not that big, Nemesis is bigger than he is, he doesn't pose very well, and what articulation he has, some of it's kind of loose on mine. I don't know if that's a thing with everybody's, but he just feels incredibly lackluster. And while he is bigger than a standard release, we've gotten characters like The Thing and Colossus and whatnot as standard releases, and I feel like this guy is barely bigger than them. If anything, I would have rather have gotten this guy as a deluxe release with more accessories, like a second grip hand, and maybe, just maybe, got the Phantom Rider's horse as a Build-A-Figure in this wave, or another character entirely. Because I know a lot of people are jonesing for a white horse, and unfortunately, there are not a lot of options for that out there. And Hasbro has proven to us in the past that they can do a really good job with beast-like characters such as Zabu, the tiger from the Savage Land. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.